Parkour is a method of training using your body to overcome obstacles.
Even though it looks just sort of random, it looks almost adrenaline junkie-ish. In fact, there's also a very disciplined aspect to it.
Way to express yourself. It's freedom of movement and the flow.
It's a very big misconception regarding the difference between parkour and free running. And it all came from the media. Once upon a time, parkour and free running and l'art de déploiement, which is a French phrase, were all the same thing. It's just training. It's just going out and bettering yourself. And due to different people in the community, you had David Bell, you had Sebastian Foucault, and you had all the other Yamakaze, and they all used different names and different words for the same art that they practiced. Because of media productions like Jump London, and because of quotes from David Bell, different phrases were developed. Free running from Sebastian, parkour from David Bell, and the Yamakaze still use ADD or l'art de déploiement. But in all actuality, it's the same practice. So while people will use them differently, they really should be used interchangeably and do represent the same practice and the same form of art.
On one side of the spectrum is parkour and on the other side is free running. And the whole spectrum is parkour, but if you want to get into the technicalities, parkour tends to be more disciplined training and more going from point A to point B and the most efficient way to overcome an obstacle, while free running tends to be more fluid and flowy and about flips and tricks and being artistic.
Parkour certainly has very powerful philosophies, very powerful meanings. Just as the word is, the entire practice is a metaphor in and of itself. Obviously, parkour is about overcoming obstacles, and that relates to absolutely everything in the world. You have your own personal obstacles, your own doubts, your own fears, and parkour not only teaches you to overcome the fears of making jumps or doing vaults, but also teaches you to overcome your own fears of, what kind of person you are and what you're capable of and what you can and can't do in the world.
Parkour for me is a serious mental barrier that I have tried to, be free of. And same thing with all the surgeries, growing up, going through that, I was, really scared. And so I've overcome a lot of fear in my life, but parkour is a different type of fear. The doctors had diagnosed me with something called malformed Chiari, which is when the spine compresses on itself in the back of the neck, and it really stops really any movement from the waist down. So I wasn't really able to do just daily life things, and also when I was in gymnastics, they pulled me out of there. I wasn't able to do that anymore, and that was a big bummer for me. In 10th grade, I'd gotten an MRI just as another checkup years later, and we compared pictures from when I was, back in 4th grade to the one now when I was in 10th grade, and, there was a significant difference. They put 2 titanium rods in me along with, some screws, and I came out great after all 3 surgeries.
Teaching and community is very important in parkour. A lot of people learn from other people. There's training by yourself, but it's so much easier to learn from someone else.
But a community is composed of strong individuals. And so parkour teaches you that you are in control of your life. It helps you to be proactive instead of reactive. It shows you what kind of control you have, that you're not a victim to your fears, you're not a victim to your own doubts. What do you think when I say reactive? Excuses, okay? These things we make up, these excuses, that's something from the environment controlling and deciding something for you. It's affecting your world. It's not you making a choice proactively. It's you being reactive and letting that affect you.
Where it's something that you train for yourself to get better. It's more of a self-betterment.
Really, that's what the art of parkour was supposed to be about. It was about taking on your challenges and bettering yourself as a person. So you find the things that you're not good at, and you challenge those things and you become good at them to make yourself a better person.
Parkour training is about forward progression and getting better and better, and that's something that I use with school and with work and with relationships.
As a parkour community, we work around each other, and we really build off each other, and we take each other's ideas and turn them into our own. If I see a move I really like, I'll try it out my own way, and it might not be perfect like to what they do, but then I create something on my own.
The focus of any community and any group should certainly be to better themselves and to better the people around them, because when you lift the people around you, they lift you up and everybody grows. And parkour is about growth, personal growth, and that's what I find to be important. Lehigh Valley Parkour is a community that I founded. It's really about developing yourself as a person. In addition to that, we know it's important to spread the art of parkour and to help other people go through that same process of development that we've been lucky enough to be exposed to. Essentially, Lehigh Valley Parkour exists in order to keep parkour alive as much as possible, while at the same time bettering the people who are practicing it, so that bit by bit, as parkour moves through and as it grows throughout the world, everybody who's exposed to it becomes a better person from it, and that every person who's a better person from it can pass it on to somebody else. Down the road, hopefully that makes the world a much better place. And I suppose that's what this community is all about. It's making people better. I got involved with Urban Current Clan when I met Ozzy Quintero from Hawaii. And he found me in Hawaii right as soon as I moved there and invited me to a training session. And we started training together, and I was impressed by him, and he was impressed by me. And so we got together, and he invited me into the Urban Current Clan, which he was just starting at the time. And he said, I'd like you to help me with this idea. I just want to start teaching more. I want to start helping more, and I think you can help me. So Ozzy and I, and with the help of a couple of other individuals, we started and founded Urban Current Clan. And Urban Current now has become very popular. We're responsible for a lot of tutorials online. We've sprouted communities in Hawaii, in Guam, here in Pennsylvania. And there's a handful of Urban Current members throughout the U.S. who are out teaching and spreading the proper practices of parkour.
The people that I look up to most are the people that I've been able to train with personally. Those include David Bell, Stefan Vigreau, a lot of the Yamakaze founders. I've trained in New York, Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, Columbus, a little bit in Baltimore, Orlando, and a lot of smaller towns all over the place too.
Some of the basic movements of parkour include running, jumping, climbing, and vaulting. Running, of course, we study good technique, proper good foot posture and body posture as you run to maintain a good structure, good position. Jumping has a lot to do with all your angles and your muscles and how all that works in lines, so we study that. Climbing has a lot more to do with muscular resistance and your timing and the placement of your limbs. And vaulting, which is sort of the essence of parkour, if you will, means overcoming an obstacle using your hands. Vaulting is about weight shifting. You need to get your body from one side of the obstacle to the other. So whether you do it slowly by shifting your weight onto the obstacle, whether you do it quickly by pushing against the ground and shooting your weight over the obstacle, all sorts of different varieties of vaults will help you get over all different sorts of varieties of obstacles. Conditioning is probably one of the most important aspects of training. It should be at least half, if not more, of your training in terms of versus technique and other movements. Conditioning prepares your body for the kind of activity it's going to do, and it also helps your performance. It's called the 2 Ps of conditioning: is performance and preparation. Preparation meaning that it's kind of like body armor. You build yourself up, you make your muscles strong and able to take the impacts. And by keeping it nice and healthy, of course, that will reflect onto your performance so that your movements look clean, all your landings and takeoffs are powerful. You find yourself capable of bigger jumps and better landings and more smooth movements. And so, without a doubt, conditioning has to be one of the most important and often neglected aspects of your training.
We came up with a list of things that we call the parkour principles, and those are safety, progression, repetition, and control. So we use safety, progression, and repetition in order to gain control in our training. So with safety, that means looking at your environment, looking at the things that could hurt you, making sure that any surfaces you're using are safe and that you understand how they feel, what the texture is, and if you can grip on them or not, as well as looking for unknown things that may come into the situation, whether it be cars or people or different situations like that. Progression is about slowly expanding step by step. So you start small and slowly work up. So if there's a certain jump you want to do, find a jump that's smaller that you know you can do that, and then slowly work up to the bigger jump. And repetition goes along with progression, and it's about doing something over and over again so that you know you can do it. If you go and you do something once, you may not be confident to do it again. But if you do something 100 times, then you know you can do it another time. And that all comes together, safety, progression, and repetition. They come together to form control, and that's what we want in our training. The biggest thing about safety is that if you get hurt, you can't train. So that's big motivation to not get hurt, because I love training, so I don't want to get hurt. When I train, I have to decide, is it worth doing something versus the injury, like the potential for injury when doing it. So anything I go to do, I need to look at that and say, do I want to do this? What are the risks? What could get hurt? Do I want to go through that injury process? If you do get injured, it's very important to take the time to recover from that. You don't want to allow an injury to control you for the rest of your life. If you would hurt your ankle and then continue to train on it and have pain for the rest of your life, that's going to affect you for a long time. I'd rather take a few weeks off, let it recover, and then be able to participate fully for the rest of my life.
But sometimes risk is inherent, and small injuries are just part of it. That's the case in any sport, and I think that injury rate is actually pretty low in parkour.
You think you can do a backflip on the trampoline? Don't go out in the grass and try it. It won't work. It's totally different, and you should really have a spotter and somebody there spotting you. And grass is nice, but it's not going to take the impact like a trampoline would.
My brother's a carpenter, so I had him build little vault boxes and things I could use to train in my backyard, and little bars that I could jump across and different things. So it really started in my backyard, and then as I got older and better, I started moving out from there.
One way we stay safe is simply a phrase called checking your surfaces. All the surfaces we deal with would include the concrete walls that you're on, the rails and how slippery they are, and of course the nature of your shoes or your hands. And so if you're doing something that might have some inherent risk, it's important to just kind of check your surfaces. And you check the rail, is it sturdy? Yes. And you check the concrete, is it strong? Is it going to fall apart? And of course your own shoes, are they wet? Do they have dust? Are your hands slippery? Just being aware of those things helps you to know where your body's at, where the environment's at. Then you can combine them in a safe manner.
Parkour at this point is part of my identity. It's part of who I am. It's something that allows me to express myself and express my personality. I like it a lot because it's unique from person to person, that no two people train the same and no two people have the same ability.
Getting over all those surgeries, I was once almost ready to be in a wheelchair for the rest of my life. It's made me think that, there's nothing I can't do. I've come this far, and I've gotten through so much. I've battled cancer, I've been through it, I can do parkour. It's not impossible.
The root of the word parkour comes from a French word which means path or way. And to me, that's what parkour is. It's my path, it's my way, it's my journey through all the obstacles in my life, and I do my best to overcome them.
The integrity and the discipline that I've gained through parkour have really affected me in other ways in my life. I've been able to take what I've learned through parkour about taking things slow and making sure I'm doing things the right way. I've been able to apply that to other areas of my life.
It's all about knowledge. It comes down to a basic idea of knowledge. Everybody is capable of incredible things. Everybody on this earth is incapable of incredible things. But it's because we don't know that we can do them that we don't do them. It's a matter of belief. It's a matter of willpower. And there's a fine line to be drawn between forcing yourself to do something because you think you can and doing something because you know you can.